Good morning and happy Friday. So glad you can join us at the Patel College of Global Sustainability reunion. This session is on sustainable policy, and I'm going to share a little bit about my background in that space and some others that I was involved with when I was a student at USF and even now. So, a little bit of my background's there on the screen for you. One Planet Living Future Makers, Project Management for Sustainable Development, Eco-Entrepreneurship, Sustainable Tourism Policy, Education in the Agri-Science space, and of course, Global Sustainability. Well, recently, I've been involved in sustainable policy at the Norman Borlaug Dialogue, which is an annual food prize event known as the World Food Prize. And it's a yearly international conference organized by that association, and it unites agri-science professionals, humanitarians, government officials, nonprofit groups, and global participants in addressing critical issues in the global food security space and in research, policy, reporting, concerns, and conversation. It's a symposium that is renowned for the foremost global agricultural conference discussions that culminate in a typical conference format and ends in a really amazing symposium where they give an award to the laureate winner of the year, which this year was Heidi Kuhn, who was recognized for a farmer-focused development model that revitalized farmland, food security, livelihoods, and resilience after devastating conflict. I was able to meet with her and her husband Gary and talk about how Roots of Peace, their organization, has removed mines, unexploded ordinances, and other remains in a post-war conflict, and restore those fields to agricultural fields once again. They had to develop the policy with the government organizations in order to do that, but having the policy isn't enough. You have to have actionable steps behind it, so that way that real change can happen. So not only did they plant some crops that families could use as subsistence crops for food intake, but they taught them how to grow black pepper trees, apple trees, and other productive things like grapevines. So they said they want to change it from mines to vines. And by doing so, they created business models that were reproducible in that region, and it has brought some sustainability and livelihood development for the families living in those post-war environments. Some of my most notable conversations at the Global Food Prize this year were with Dr. Kerry Fowler, the Special Envoy for Global Food Security for the United States Department of State. I really look forward to working with him on developing some food security crop guidelines and concepts that can be utilized in other places all around the world. And he's done a lot of research in food security crops, and I'm really excited to be able to send him some of the things I've been working on and collaborate on some things in the future. Also, Dr. Lawrence Haddad, who won the World Food Prize in 2018 for elevating maternal and child malnutrition to a central issue at the national and international level. I spoke with him and he talked about how backyard gardens are so important even for today, because the pandemics that we've gone through, we haven't seen the end of that. And so everyone should be growing some kind of food locally and sustainably. Cynthia Rosenweig, who won the Food Prize Award last year, what an amazing public speaker and educator. And man, you can't even really see her because my face is in the way, so I apologize for that. But her pioneering work in modeling the impact of climate change on food production worldwide began in the 1980s, and finally she's been recognized for that work here back in 2022. Our school here at Wilson Middle School in Hyde Park in downtown Tampa is working on the One Planet Living framework. So it is our objective to be involved in all kinds of areas of sustainability. So our school policy is such that students are engaged in oyster recycling, food waste collection, biking and walking to school campaigns, water use awareness, recycling of paper and plastic, gardening. Our parent teacher students have meetings where they talk about social development and other issues that are related to schools and the students, grant writing and keeping students safe. We also have hydroponics, aquaponics, a biodigester. We have ducks and rabbits that the students are really excited about today. And we participate in our early beginnings of agroforestry, and we've got more fun projects on the way. You can see some of our students engaged in our hydroponic production there in the top left photo, some of our floriculture there in the middle, and some harvesting along with the beginning of our aquaponic system bottom left, which is almost done. Looks a lot different than that now. And of course, raised bed gardening and students using how to use power tools to produce some really cool, fun projects here on site. My student experience at the Patel College of Global Sustainability included doing sustainable tourism policy with Dr. David Randall, where we did sustainability metrics for lots of eco resorts. So I was able to basically do audits on sustainable resorts in the Commonwealth of Dominica, which was a lot of fun. And there was about 4 or 5 resorts that were involved in that project. And I've worked with Dr. T.H. Culhane in learning how to build biodigesters and taking that technology to places like Uganda and Cameroon and in the Florida Keys right after a hurricane. And both of those professors really poured into my life, and I'm very grateful for their friendship and partnership. Here's one of the tourism audits that we did in Manatee County. This was for the first United Nations World Tourism Observatory there at the resort at Longboat Key. And so the resorts that participated voluntarily and willingly modified how the resorts were conducting their activities to make it more sustainable and better for people, the planet, and for their profit as well. Here's some of Dr. Culhane's amazing cold weather biodigesters, which are a part of Solar Cities, and I was so glad to be a part of their team and building some cool biodigesters overseas. You can see that we also built some of these units down at Echo Global Farm. We talked about food security while we were there, nutrient-rich fertilizer for agriculture, which comes out of our biodigester. We talked about educational concerns for hunger organization, which is what Echo stands for, their organization down there. And we enjoy that agricultural partnership that we have with them in training development workers all around the world to take not only their learning in regard to biodigesters, but everything that is related to food security. Really amazing place to visit if you haven't done that yet. I took my students here at Wilson Middle School over to Hart Village and Institute in Lake Wales last year. We've been there a few times before with some of the professors there at PCGS. And you can see that they've got some biogas utilization based on the microbes from the pig manure, and we had really good conversations with their director, Dr. Phil Murphy. Here we are continuing the next slide. I was able to build a biodigester up at Sustain Hope up in Missouri. There is a cold weather location. It turns to a block of ice every year, but when it melts and thaws, they can still utilize that biogas and the slurry fertilizer. They do a lot of sustainability training up there, and I was able to partner with them on this project and dialogue with them on different policy-related and development-related projects since that time. Good friends there. Here's the project we did down the Florida Keys right after the hurricane. We needed to reinvigorate that saltwater intruded soil. So the soil had been overrun by salt water, and the biodigester was a great way to reinvigorate that soil and bring back development to their only agricultural zone. At one time, I was the eco-science director for the Rosebud Continuum Education Center, and that center is still in operation today. I was glad to be on the ground level of that organization. You should check it out because they have a partnership with Patel College, and some of you are coming out on Saturday to be a part of that and listen to the Ecotones play some live music there while we're there. We've got students who were a part of that program from the beginning who had come out and they planted some agroforestry crops, and within 2 years, you can see these 8th graders planted the trees. 2 years later, 5th graders came out, and look how much taller the trees were because they had that great soil and all of the layered gardening and layered soil and the slurry from the biodigester. Look at how awesome that was, and fruit production even in that short period of time. You can see the biodigesters there, some of the big ones that Dr. Culhane built and I was able to participate in. Love the fire-breathing dragon. Everybody loves that. And these are some of the things that we developed while we were there. You know, some raised bed gardening, some of the spaghetti system hydroponics, which is it's kind of a continuous flow system, if you wanted to give it a name. But it definitely has a wicking process to it as well. Students participating in the aquaponics there, cauliflower in the garden, even mango trees were able to get their early beginnings in that farm, and we had some grafting workshops. A lot of fun, enjoyed being there. I probably need to go a lot faster because I have 10 minutes to do this, and we've already run out of time. So let me hurry up. So, of course, the Sustainable Development Goals, we taught that was really important out there. Biosand filters with Dr. Kabrab. You guys know and love him. What a world changer he is. And of course, I've worked in Africa, as I said before. This was our project in Uganda, taking some of those 5 stone fires and giving them a clean cooking fuel that they can utilize. This is our project in Cameroon, and you can see that this was for an orphanage there, and you could see the results of the gas that produces the flame. We even did some community scale biodigesters at the restaurant level. So these would be commercial units. And you can see Tim Kirchie there from Fat Bee Farm. Really cool friend. And you've got biodigester here, slurry containment area, which was his engineering. And we love to put that together for him. And it enables them to grow lots of stuff in a salty soil. So that's pretty cool. And you can see the barn that was built there. You guys have probably been out there by now and seen all the development since the early beginnings of this phase. And of course, the aquaponic system that's on the inside of that farm over there. Done a little eco-entrepreneurship pre-COVID with sustainable microgreens and sustainable mushrooms with my good friend Dario Rodriguez. And you can see some of the work of that as well. So I thank you so much for being a part of this session. I look forward to speaking with you tonight about more sustainable policy. Hope you enjoyed this session, and we look forward to talking with you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.